it's been interesting as you build applications that people start to say, well, yeah, I could learn how to use all of these things, or I could just ask Claude how to do it, or ChatGPT. And so we have exposed our application to Claude and ChatGPT so that you can just interact here. In this case, we have a district here. This is a county district. And so, we could ask the question, let's group by geography. Where do supporters, independents, and opposers and cluster? So it's going to go grab the voters and kind of plot them on a map. And we can take a look at where they are and get a better feel for what neighborhoods we might want to start targeting.
And so this is by neighborhood. It looks like it's pulled together a list of supporters, independents, opposition. And so you can really see where you're doing well, where you're not.
Yeah, so these are all polling places, actually, but this is giving you an idea of how to narrow down which neighborhoods you want to focus on. So you should probably focus on some of these, and maybe some of these down here aren't your ideal starting points in terms of where you want to deploy your time in the beginning.
So if I'm going to start volunteer recruitment, I start at the top of this list. I imagine we could also have it prioritized by independents as well for when it's time to go ID and persuasion.
Right. And probably here, I think some of these districts are smaller from a count standpoint. So we probably want to redo this and say, give me the actual volume of voters.
Oh, yeah. This obfuscates the numbers with the percentage. Let's look at raw numbers. Okay, so that is stark. I mean, and really what we're looking for here, right? You can see where I would start. Central, Liberty, New Covenant, these are all great.
And then, right, so then if you wanted to get very specific, you could say, hey, give me the voters in Central, or even, go into the application and start doing your filtering from there. So, it can just help you make those decisions without needing to be, a data expert. You can just ask Claude to help you out.
So the party breakdown by area is cool. It gives me a place to start for volunteer recruitment. But what if I wanted to do a little more cross-referencing? Take a look at the age and gender to see where people are breaking down across the district.
Right, so we can ask it that question. Again, this is anything that's in the application we can do here and get creative and find out, what it can do here. So if we wanted to look at age bands by sex to see, if there's potential focus audiences there as we break things down.
Okay, so there's just more women than men, which is normal. So it does show, I think, that it peaks in that 45 to 65 age range. But really, anybody who's not under 30 is probably an important target. We could ask it to do the same thing for supporters in opposition. Okay, now that's cool. So supporters, unsurprisingly, they lean older. Opposition, they do too. There's just less of them. The real thing I see at just a glance here is that older folks vote, because we're looking at active voters here. The fact is there's just more of them. They turn out more often, pretty much across the board. So that might be a hole that we want to fill, right? We could do some more focused voter registration and trying to GOTV people to come out in the primaries, get involved in the party a little more. Let's dive a little more deeply, but particularly, is there a way to look at who came out in 2026?
So we could say, who, give me a breakdown of age group of registered versus who actually voted in the primary, and just have it visualize that for us. Yeah, so this is where you see, you have 6,000 people in this age bucket who are registered. And then in the primary, this is how many people actually showed up and cast a vote. And again, it's older individuals who do vote. So when you're picking your time and your focus, yes, there is significant opportunity to turn out younger age groups. It's just harder. And so just keeping that in mind when you're putting together your strategy of who you're talking to, who is that avatar you're talking to, and investing your time.
And it's, I think, something you can see in the numbers, but to have a graph presented to you like this, it really shows where you're lacking clearly.
So if we did want to say, hey, how could we get some people like this involved in this age range? If we pretend we're looking for women core supporters in this age range and where they live in the district, we could ask this type of question. and see if it can help us find those people and where they live. Okay, so it came up with 189 women in that age group who have shown themselves to be core supporters, and it's got them mapped over the district. And so if we wanted, we can click on them and see who they are. We won't do that. And, this is a manageable list where you could start to do direct outreach and say, of these individuals, who would be potential volunteer, and say, hey, let's get somebody in this area, somebody in this area. And so, like for instance, I've got a neighborhood here, and we could even do something as simple as just grab a screenshot of their neighborhood and just ask, can you find the independent and supporters that live in this map to do a walk list? And so this is where, it's able to look at a map and see the street names, do that filtering for you. So just one less thing that you maybe have to learn how to do on your own.
I think this is the part when I was watching you do this the first time really blew me away. The fact that it could identify a map. It just makes the process of cutting these lists so much easier. If I could just give it a screenshot and say, where are the people that live here? Make a map, cut me a list.
I think there's a lot of candidates and campaigns that have not had access to tools like this, or just don't have time, don't have the experience. And so if we can lower the bar to make it accessible to them, and I think that's kind of the big potential with this. So it took that map, and it's identified the core and likely supporters there. We can actually go look at the households and do a walk list and print that out and give that to the supporter, or break it down even further and say, hey, that's a lot. Can we split this up into different walk lists and split that up between multiple people? So that just, how can we lower the bar from an experience standpoint? It's just really exciting that certainly the complexities that I faced in my campaign of, I had a lot of people that wanted to help, and being able to give them tools to help themselves, or to give them easily edible items like a walk list that were difficult for me to do. Like, I can just come in here in Claude and do them really quickly. So for me as a campaigner, this is very exciting to have this interface, because it would have made my life easier. But it also means that I could have had other people do these things that were bottleneck on me. So that's why I'm excited about this.
I'm excited, obviously, about the ability to just dive into the data. I want to know more about my district. Where do people live? Where are they clustered? How do I plan my events around the district? I think this has a lot of really cool implications. So thank you for setting this up. I'm really excited to be able to show it to folks today.